Hey y'all, it's me, your girl, Antoinette, and I am the queen of human development. I support people young and old in bringing their vision for life into fruition by supporting them in creating goals and also helping them to work towards the goals that they set for themselves. That's something that I'm really passionate about doing. But today, however, I'm coming and I'm talking to y'all about how to gain security in your personal life and your relationships. Now, I came across this topic a couple months ago in my journey in therapy. I was talking about my past, and she said, "You know what, Antoinette?" My therapist said, "I need you to take a quiz for me so we can figure out your attachment style." So I wasn't familiar really what she was talking about, but I was definitely looking forward to taking this quiz and seeing how this quiz was going to help me, right? So I took the quiz. It was the attachment style quiz by Diane Poole Heller. And it was awesome. It definitely made me more aware of who I am and why I do the things that I do. But before I get into it, let me explain to you what the attachment theory. So when I'm talking about the attachment theory and I'm saying attachment, I'm talking about the way in which you interact with people. Okay? So your attachment style is the way in which you interact with people in your life. Now, let me be clear. The way in which you were parented or the relationship that you had with your caregivers also plays a part in your attachment style as an adult. Now, that does not mean that because you experienced a certain type of attachment as a child, it doesn't mean that you will automatically be that type of person in your adult life, but it does mean that you need to be aware of how you were parented so that you don't repeat the cycle. Okay? So, if that makes sense. So, let me tell y'all about my results of the attachment style quiz. So, there's 4 categories in the attachment theory. So, you can either be secure, and for me, I was 42% secure. You can either be avoidant or dismissive. I was 26% of that. I was 6% ambivalent. That's the other area. And then last but not least, you can be disorganized. Okay, so 26% was avoidant and dismissive, 6% was ambivalent or anxious, and 6% was disorganized, and 42% of me was secure. So according to the test, I had secure attachment. But after talking to my therapist, she's like, "Antoinette, I don't believe that that's true because we just had a conversation and I know you're not fully secure or fully healed from all the things that you've been through." And I agreed with her at that moment in time when we was talking about my attachment style and my attachment theory and going over the results of the test, right? So I want to tell y'all, I'm going to explain to y'all the 4 attachment styles, and I'm going to explain it to y'all from 2 different points of views. So I'm going to explain it from the parenting point of view and then the adult style point of view, okay? So from your parenting point of view, I'm going to explain each category from your parenting point of view. This is important because I need you to be aware of either how you were parented or how you are currently parenting your children that you have before you, so you can be aware of what you are doing, if you are repeating the cycle, and if it's healthy for you and your children. So it's important for me to come from the point of view of a parent, and then it's also important for me to come from the adult style point of view because, like I said, the way you were parented definitely plays a part in your adult attachment style, but sometimes you could have a secure attachment. Sometimes your parents could have parented you in a secure manner, and you still turn out disorganized or ambivalent or anxious or whatever the case may be. So then I'm going to share with y'all some characteristics of what it looks like to be an adult who is secure or disorganized or anxious or whatever. So I'm going to come to y'all from 2 different points of view, from the parenting style and then from the adult style, okay? So as I said, there are 4 attachment styles. You have secure attachment, then you can be avoidant or dismissive attachment, there's ambivalent or anxious attachment, and then there's disorganized attachment, okay? The way that you were parented definitely plays a role in how you interact with adults, especially if you're not secure. especially if you're not secure in your adult life. I want to make that very clear, but I also want to make it very clear that just because you were parented a certain way, it does not mean you can't change the outcome of how you parent or how you interact with adults in your adult life, because it happens every day. But the first step is for us to be aware. The first step is for us to be aware of our attachment styles. Like, it's so important. And knowing this information really was healing for me, like, seriously. So that's why I'm sharing it with y'all, because it was healing for me, and I know it's going to be healing for you if you listen to it and you're willing to listen and do the work. Okay? So secure attachment, we're going to start there. So as I said, I was 42% secure. Out of 80%, I'm 42% secure and 38% insecure. So I don't think that's really a healed person at the time when I took this test. I think if I was to take the quiz again, I believe that the percentages will be more towards secure, because like I said, after taking this quiz and really realizing the underlying foundation of my attachment, it really made things clear for me, and I'm not gonna keep this cycle going, okay? So secure attachment. So first I'm going to talk about secure parenting and what that looks like. So you need to listen to this to figure out if you were parented in a secure manner or if you are doing secure parenting right now with your children. So for one, if you were provided comfort when you needed it, or if you provide comfort to your children when they need it, that's a secure parent. If you provide comfort. Some people, they think back and they can't even remember times when their parents hugged them or loved them or said, it's going to be okay. Some people didn't have that type of relationship with their caregivers. So if you had that, that's a form of secure parenting. If you are doing that, be easy on yourself, because that's a form of secure parenting. Also, if you were offered the freedom to explore when desired, that's an example of secure parenting. And if you offer your children the freedom to explore in this world, even though you might think it's dangerous, even if you might think that it's not the safest place to be, but you still allow your children the freedom to be them, that is a form of secure parenting. And I really would like to say, like, my mom, she definitely was that type. Like, although I wasn't allowed to spend the night over people's houses until I was like 17 years old, because she didn't play that, but she allowed me to be free. She allowed me to, be in the community, to roam the streets per se. To an extent, she allowed me to express myself. She allowed me to be, she definitely comforted me when I needed to be comforted, So I can definitely say for myself, I definitely experienced secure parenting from my mom, Now, this is what secure attachment looks like in an adult. So this is how you know if you're secure, if you're living a secure life. So if you're able to have trusting and lasting relationships, you have friendships that last for years and years and years, and your romantic relationships, you can hold, long relationships, long-term relationships, then more than likely you're a secure person. If you tend to have good self-esteem, like when you look in the mirror and you feel good about you, when you look in the mirror and you are happy with what you see, you don't want to change nothing about you because you are happy with you are proud of what you have to offer, then that's secure. You are secure in yourself. If you are comfortable with sharing your thoughts and your feelings with people, and you don't stay quiet out of fear of being judged or being disliked or out of fear or whatever, but you still speak up and you say what you have to say in the most respectful manner, of course, then that's secure. That's secure. If you seek out for your success, I have one of my sayings is, we have to seek help for our success. So if you are one that seeks help for your success, and you don't adopt the mentality that if you seek help, then you're weak, or if you seek help, people are going to talk about you. You don't care about that. You're secure enough in yourself to know that seeking help means strength. Okay? That's security. That's being secure in who you are. If you are satisfied in your relationships and you don't settle, just settle to have somebody, just settle to be around somebody, but you know that what's for you is for you, and you do your best to be around people who lift you up and not bring you down, that's security. If you are willing to leave relationships that no longer serve you, that no longer that are no longer good for you, that's secure. That's securing yourself. That's security in yourself. Okay, and that's what it looks like. And also, most importantly, if you're in a relationship and you allow your partner to roam free, you're not calling them 24/7 trying to figure out what they doing, where they been, why they doing what, and who they doing it with. If that's not you and you allow your partner to roam free, I know somebody was like, I don't care, my boyfriend don't gotta call me and for 2-3 days. Now they was old, because I don't know anybody my age that would be okay with that. I don't care how secure you are. You gonna call me. We got cell phones and all type of stuff. But I'm just saying, some people don't mind. I don't know if I'm that secure. Second, we're going to talk about avoidant and dismissive attachment. So this one was 26%. This is what I scored on my attachment theory. So first it was 42% secure, and then 26% insecure with avoidant and dismissive. Now, I definitely can identify with some of the characteristics as an adult in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into that. So avoidant and dismissive parenting. This is what avoidant and dismissive parenting looks like. So this is how you know that you were parented or you are parenting in an avoidant or dismissive manner, okay? So if you are emotionally unavailable or unresponsive to your children, or your parents didn't respond to your emotional needs, then you were experiencing avoidant or dismissive parenting. If every time you cried or every time your children cried, you discouraged that is avoidant and dismissive parenting. And what you are teaching your child to do is to learn how to not seek comfort. You're teaching your child to learn how to not seek help, because every time they cry or every time they show some type of emotion, you discourage it. So now you are causing a cycle of, especially in our young boys, you're continuing the cycle of children who are angry, children who can't communicate, children who act out in a negative way because they weren't given the proper tools to express themselves, but they were given the shut up, boys don't cry, or be quiet, instead of giving the tools and the words that they need. So that's an example of dismissive and avoidant parenting. Now this is what avoidant and dismissive this is what avoidant and dismissiveness looks like in an adult. So now you're grown, you're an adult. This is what it looks like in an adult. So if you have challenges with intimacy or avoid intimacy, now this was me. I remember from way back from what I could remember, I used to have arguments with my boyfriends because they used to be like, like, why can't you just give me a kiss? Why can't, and I used to be like, nah, I'm just not that affectionate, That used to always be my excuse. And now I can see, especially with me being 26, just being my 26%, like that's a big block. So I see how I, as an adult, can be avoidant or dismissive. Now, mind you, when I was younger, I don't believe I had avoidant or dismissive parenting. Not avoidant. I feel like my mom was, for the most part, when I think back, she didn't avoid me. She wasn't dismissive of me. She definitely was one to communicate with me and gave me the words and lectured me. Like, she put that time into me. Now, from my dad, maybe avoidant parenting, but for the most part, because I spent so much time with my mom, I definitely did receive on her end secure parenting. Also, if you invest little or no emotions in your social or romantic relationships, like you have no time for that, you're not really interested in being in love, like you don't care, like, you the type alone makes you strong and you think it's cool to be by yourself. If that's you, that's avoidant and dismissive behavior, if you're experiencing that in your adult life, okay? If you aren't able to share your thoughts or your feelings, or you don't want to, or you are unwilling to, or you aren't able to share your thoughts and your feelings, that's what that looks like. I remember in my first relationship with my son's father, he used to share all his thoughts and feelings with me, and then at the end of the conversation, I'd just be looking like, okay. And he'd be like, you don't have nothing to say, like you don't have no input, you don't have anything to say. And I really didn't. I didn't have any thoughts, or I didn't really have anything to say when he would express his stuff to me. Definitely more likely to engage in casual sex. So if you're somebody that you don't want to do relationships, but you like to have your little flings and your one night stands or whatever, all you're doing is participating in avoidant or dismissive behavior, and that's a level of insecurity. You know, you might feel like you are secure and you're in control, because I experienced a time in my life where I would just engage in sexual activities because I'm trying to get back at people, because I'm trying to get back at my dad or get back at my first boyfriend because they weren't there for me, and that was my way of getting back, you know. But as I got older, I was more willing to participate in, you know, flings or whatever, because one of the avoidant or dismissive behaviors was that you come off as you focused on yourself a lot. So I could participate in a fling, but I'm very self-centered, or I've been known to be self-centered according to some. So that's a characteristic of avoidant and dismissive behavior in adults. So if you have experienced, or if you are showing these type of characteristics in your adult life, I want you to know that security is out there for you. Most definitely, security is out there for you. And if you keep watching this video, I'm definitely going to share with you ways in which you can become secure if you are the avoidant or dismissive type. Okay? Ambivalent and anxious is the next style. The third style is ambivalent and anxious parenting. So I scored 6% in this area. Not parenting, I'm sorry, y'all. It's anxious and ambivalent. That's the next session. But I'm about to get into what ambivalent and anxious parenting looks like. What does that look like? So, have you ever been in the store and you see a parent and a child interacting, and the child is talking to the parent like they the parent? Have you ever seen that? Because I've seen that, and I'd be like, what the hell, I wish my child would. But that's a prime example of ambivalent and anxious parenting. It's like when you are confused, like you don't know who the hell the parent is in a situation. When you know who the parent is, but the child is acting like the parent. Now, I will say, like in my, I can definitely relate to this form of parenting. Also secure parenting, but also the ambivalent parenting in some ways. Even when I would read back into my journals from when I was in high school, I remember reading, or I always remember writing and reading that, you know, I could just take care of myself. I feel like I'm just taking care of myself, you know, especially after my mom had my siblings after I turned 13 and it was more kids added to. I wasn't just the only child anymore. I really began to feel like I was the parent in our relationship after a certain age. And sometimes even now, with me being older, if you hear a conversation with me and my mom, you might be like, well, who the hell is the mom or the daughter? And that's our relationship now. As an adult, like that's my best friend. I'm 30 and she in her 40s. So we close like that now. But at that time, like even if I was in high school, she would call me, she could ask me for advice, and you might be like, well, who the hell is the parent? So I definitely can say I have experience with a little bit of ambivalent or anxious parenting in that manner. Anxious parenting also looks like when the parent is inconsistent. So at times, the parents are fully engaged. They might be fully engaged with their homework, or fully engaged with the child emotions, or fully engaged with whatever the child's got going on. Then at other times, they're not. They're disengaged. They could care less. Or they might be up to date on, or really on top of their disciplining style, and then at other moments, they're not on top of it. So it's causing the child to be confused. They don't know. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how to act. So that's also a form of ambivalent or anxious parenting, because when the child doesn't know what to expect, then they become a little anxious. And one thing I didn't have to be anxious about was the reasons why, especially in disciplinarian times, I never had to be anxious about why I was getting in trouble or why I was being disciplined. Never. So I was never like really ambivalent or anxious about anything like that. But that's what ambivalent and anxious parenting looks like, when you are literally confused about who is the parent and who is the adult, or who is the parent, who is the child. Now, as an adult, this is what ambivalent or anxious parenting looks like in an adult. This is what ambivalent or anxious characteristics, this is how it is shown in your adult life, okay? So you might be one that's reluctant to become close to others. You might try to stay away because you don't know what to expect from others. Like if you didn't know what to expect from your own parents and your own caregiver when you were younger, and you didn't have that type of consistency, how can you even know what it's like to build closeness to others? So you're going to be reluctant to that because you never had that experience in your relationships as a child and through your adult life. Sometimes you might worry that your partners don't love you because you always had to worry when you were younger or through life if you were loved by people who were supposed to love you unconditionally. So because you didn't experience that in your younger years or throughout life, now in your relationships, you are ambivalent, you're anxious, you're worried, right? So that's what that looks like in your adult life. Also, if you are somebody that you become very distraught when you lose relationships, that's a form of ambivalent or anxious characteristic. Like you literally go into this whole emotional mess because someone's leaving you, because you don't feel secure on your own. You don't feel as though you can make it. That's a form of ambivalence. That's a form of anxiousness. If you're somebody that likes to cling to young children as a sense of security, I want to let you know that that's a form of ambivalence. That's a form of anxiousness. And a lot of the times, people who have a lot of children and are not in a healthy or financial place to do so, they are suffering from these type of ambivalent or anxious characteristics because you just trying to have kids to replace the love that you didn't receive in your younger life or throughout your life. And so now you feel as though your child or the children that you have are going to be all the love that you need, but it's not. You got to have that love within yourself, because at the end of the day, kids turn 18 and they live and they have their own families, period. So you have to not have all these kids to try to get love, but work on loving yourself, work on healing yourself, work on becoming secure. That's what it is, secure in who you are, not secure in who you are in somebody else, but becoming secure in who you are. And that's the key. That's important. And that's the reasons why I'm doing this video, because I want us all to become secure in who we are, secure in our life, secure in what we have to offer. It's important. And the last area, which I also got 6% in, was disorganized. So, disorganized parenting, this is what it looks like. So if there is no way in which your child can work together in that household with this caregiver to, if there's no organized strategy that works for that child in that household, it's going to be a problem. If you grew up with a whole lot of chaos in your house, this is an area that I can honestly say that if I would have took this quiz about 7, 8, 10 years ago, I probably would have had high disorganized interactions with others, most definitely, because I come from disorganization as a child, and I can honestly say that disorganization followed me into my early 20s. It really did. And out of all the other areas, like out of the avoidant or dismissive or the ambivalent and the anxious or the secure attachments, they made it very clear that you can heal from, like if you come from ambivalence, when you get older, they're saying that if you grew up in that, that doesn't mean that you will automatically be that when you get older. But in the disorganized living, in a disorganized way, this is the only area that states that if you come from disorganization, it's a generational thing, and you will continue to keep the cycle going if you don't heal from your trauma and your drama. And that's real, and that's deep. That's real, and that's deep for me. Okay? So if you grew up in a house that was, high in violence like mine, high in violence up until a certain amount of time, but definitely high in violence, unpredictable in a way, like you don't know if somebody's going to get hit tonight or show love tonight. Like you don't know what's going to happen. If you grow up in an environment that's high and filled with drugs or a lot of police activity, or if you always in and out of homelessness, or like just straight chaos, straight disorganization, then if you grew up in that, I want you to pay close attention to if you are now being that type of parent to your children. Because if you are, it's time to break the cycle. It's time to break the cycle. You can do it. You can literally break the cycle. And it's time to do that if you are willing to do the work. Okay? So this is what disorganized attachments looks like in an adult. And when I was reading this and I was doing my research, I'm like, this was me. In my teenage years, this was me. Straight disorganized. And I knew better. But I was just chaos. Loved it. Okay? So if you view relationships as a source of both comfort and fear due to the presence of abuse. So if you watch my videos, y'all know I've seen abuse, and I was in an abusive relationship of my own starting at the age of 17. I was in my first and last abusive relationship like that anyway. 17 years old. And I always say to this day that that was my most passionate relationship. However, so I sought comfort in that relationship, but I also was fearful in that relationship in a sense. So if you live a life of crisis and chaos, that was me. Every other day we was fighting. Every other day police was being called. Every other day I was punching a window out his car, he kicking a dent in mine. Like literally chaos and crisis every day. But guess what? At night we loved each other. In the day we was going crazy, driving each other crazy, driving the community crazy. But at night we loved each other, and I lived for that. If you have to be constantly exposed to intense emotions. So when I was younger and I was in that abusive relationship, that relationship had finally ended, and then I moved on to another relationship. But because I was in an abusive relationship, I became the abuser in my next relationship. And when I didn't, and I don't think it was always consciously, but as I think back and I reflect, because I always like to reflect on my life, I really believe that because I wasn't getting that drama, because I wasn't getting that abusiveness, like those intense emotions that abusive relationship we brought out of each other, because I wasn't experiencing that, I caused that. Because that's what I thought love was, and when I didn't see it and when I didn't feel it, it was just like, I need that. Because what? You don't love me because you're not punching me in my eye. You don't love me because you're not cussing me out and snapping on me every time you get mad. You don't love me. How could you love me? That's not love. I know what love is. I want that passionate love, And I would really then emulate that in my current relationship. And that was so wrong and that was so false, but I was all in a whole different mental space back then. I really was. Also, if you fear romantic attachment in people, period, like you don't know if you can safely love people because you don't come from safe love. If you don't know, you might feel like you can't love people safely because you don't come from safe love and you don't know what that looks like. That's a form of disorganized attachment. And I want you to know that you don't have to stay disorganized. I want you to know that you can change your attachment style, whether you had your attachment style ever since you were a little kid or if you grew up and because life has groomed you in a way to have a certain attachment style because of the relationships that you have built or the people that you come in contact with every day, I want you to know today that you have the power, that you have the power to change your attachment style, because I'm doing it. I've been doing it. I've been on this journey of greatness and recovery and healing and forgiveness and love and light. And you can do this. You can do it too. You can go along the same journey. It probably won't be exactly like mine because we all are different, but you can go on this journey as well. You can do it. You just got to be willing to do the work, period. So if you're willing to do the work, I want you to continue to watch this video because it's about to wrap it up. But I'm going to send you home with some tools that will support you in being secure if you landed in any other areas after taking that quiz or any quiz like it. If you land in any other area outside of secure attachment, if you are dismissive, avoidant, ambivalent, anxious, disorganized, if you land in any of those categories, then I need you to continue to watching this video because I'm about to give you some tools and some tips that will support you in creating your best life and support you in becoming whole and happy and secure, because security is the key. Once we are secure in ourselves, then we can do anything. We can be anything. We can do anything. All right? So I'm going to start with the avoidance style. All right? So as I said, you are avoidant if you like to avoid intimacy or you like to engage in casual sex and all the other characteristics that I stated. But if you, after taking the quiz and you are more avoidant than secure, I want you to know that it's okay to be vulnerable. I want you to know that you can trust in your relationships. I want you to know that if there's a relationship that you can trust, that you have the power to leave that relationship. I want you to know that it's okay to be engaged, that you can give yourself permission. You can give yourself permission to be intimate and loving and safe and caring relationships. Like you can give yourself permission. You don't have to avoid intimacy. Intimacy is okay. All right. So I want to share with y'all about a couple steps that's going to support you and become, if you are the avoidant style, I'm about to share some steps with you that's going to support you in becoming secure. No longer avoidant. No longer avoidant or dismissive. No longer avoidant or dismissive will you be. Okay? So the first step is you got to be aware. Okay? You have to really be aware of how you interact with others. You can't just go around screaming that you're secure, that you're secure, that you're secure if you're not. You know, you got to really be aware of how you interact with others. And once you become aware and you realize that you're not as secure as you say, it's time to work towards a mutual support of giving and taking. Like, you have to know that in your adult life, like, you no longer have to be guarded. Like, you no longer have to save yourself. Like, you no longer have to be scared. Like, you can trust. You can pick relationships and partners that you can trust. That you can pick somebody that you feel as though can carry the weight, but you have to give them some weight to carry. You can't carry all the weight on your back because you're scared that somebody won't measure up, or you're scared that you might get hurt, or you're scared of, for whatever reason. You can't do that. You got to be able to really lessen your need for the complete need of self-reliance. You have to lessen your need for self-reliance. Point blank, period. Like, you can't do it all on your own, and you shouldn't have to. You really shouldn't have to. Step number 3, do not focus on the imperfections of your partner. So if you want to come from avoidant and you want to go to secure, a lot of times when you focus on the imperfections of your partner, you're trying to avoid something. You're either trying to avoid the love that they're trying to give you, or you're trying to avoid whatever it is that you're trying to avoid. And I can say that in the beginning of my relationship that I'm in right now, I used to focus on the negatives of my partner because I wasn't used to this type of love. Again, I wasn't used to this type of love. So as a defense mechanism, self sabotaging, a self-sabotaging habit of trying to find the negatives in a person as a defense mechanism. And my best friend, she pointed that out to me and said, Antoinette, you're just trying to find anything and everything wrong with this person because you scared. You're scared that this person gonna hurt you. You scared. Mind you, the avoidance style, y'all, that's 26% of me. That's almost another half of me. So when I tell y'all, these are the things that I have done, being aware. Also lightening my load and becoming more reliant on my partner and trusting that he's not going to hurt me, and also trusting the fact that if he does hurt me, guess what? I'm going to be the fuck okay. I know I'm going to be okay. So I don't got to be scared. I don't got to avoid the love. I don't got to dismiss all the love that he has for me, because I know that at the end of the day, my man love me and I love him. Point blank, period. But I had to really change my mind frame because of life. Life taught me to be a whole different type of Antoinette. Like, seriously. Like, my relationship, like that abuse relationship, really taught me how to be somebody else. And I had to, and also taught me to expect certain things from people. And I had to really learn, like, all men is not that man. All men is not that boy, because at the end of the day, we was kids when we was trying to have this relationship in the first damn place. But I really had to learn that, and life is teaching me that. Okay? Step number 4, if you are in relationships and you are the avoidant type, whether it be romantic or platonic, I want you to write a list of qualities that support you in providing thanks for this partnership that you have, or this friendship, even a work relationship or an organizational relationship. Like, what are the qualities that you have that this partnership has? And write that down so you can begin to focus on that and not focus on the negatives in the situation, because there's a lot of positive in all situations, but what you focus on grows. So if you're only focusing on the negative, then just believe you're only going to see negative. But if you start beginning to write down some positive things, more positivity will show up. And if you can't find no positivity, then leave the damn relationship. Just leave. That's all I'm saying. Just leave. Okay? Some few more tips. So if you're the type that, if you already now know that you're the avoidant type, and you are the type to leave relationships early, soon as you see at the first sign of trouble, you just leave. That's not healthy. You gotta stay. I realized this maybe like a first couple months ago. Like, me and my partner, we had our first big fight. It was like a big fight, like a bigger fight for like me anyway. It wasn't like physical or anything, but to me it was big. And I was like, what? I don't gotta take this shit. I'm leaving. But after talking to my therapist and my mom and my bestie and everybody else, getting some good counsel, they was like, Antoinette, you need to think twice about this. And after thinking twice and writing down my list, thinking about all the good in my man, I said, you know what? I don't think I want to leave my man. Right? So, but back in the day, I would have left. So if you have the tendency to leave relationships before they get to at the first sign of trouble or before love really hits, try staying a little bit, because I can say that since us being back, like being back together, or however you want to put it, our relationship has been really well. So sometimes you are introduced to drama, in a sense, to make you stronger. Not no physical drama, like he ain't gonna be beating you in your head or nothing, but sometimes challenges come to make you stronger. All right, so you gotta really weigh out the pros and the cons of what you're facing in your situation. Is it worth it? Do you really want to leave? What qualities does your partner have? What qualities does this relationship have? The good, the bad, the ugly. Also, this is an affirmation that I found that I wanted to share. So if you are the avoidant style, and I already said that avoidant styles, they have issues with intimacy. So if you are the avoidant style or the avoidant type, I want you to affirm, it is good for you to have intimacy. Intimacy can help you feel safe and secure. Please affirm that to yourself. Write that down and affirm that to yourself. It's true. It is good for you to have intimacy. Intimacy can help you feel safe and secure. I read this book. It was like a healing book. I don't have the name of it right now. But one of the things I also said, well, I give myself permission to be intimate with my partner. And I could say that really has helped me, because I don't know what I was holding on to, but I feel like I was trying to hold on to power or something, like subconsciously, not consciously, but subconsciously or something. And I wouldn't allow myself to be freely intimate with my partner all the time. And giving myself permission to do that really changed the outlook of just changing my mind frame and changing the outlook on our relationship. And over time, if you're the avoidant type, you will realize that it's okay to rely on people. Like, the more that you surround yourself with trusting relationships, the more that you surround yourself with people who are not going to let you down, you are going to begin to realize that there's good people out here. Like, when I was younger, I felt like I always had to get used to disappointment, in a sense, especially if that's coming from my dad. Just disappointment, right? So I got used to that. But as I began to get older and I had to choose my own relationships and choose my own friendships, that was one thing that I will not accept. And that's disappointment or anything like that. But as I began to have my own relationships, it began to get more, I began to get more like happiness from my relationships and not a lot of letdowns. I began to realize, look, okay, people can be trusted. It's only those phony people that can't be trusted. You right? You feel me? All right. So for the anxious style. So as I said, for the anxious or the ambivalent style, like, it's like you don't even know who the parent is in that situation. You just don't even know. So, and if you are ambivalent, or how it looks like in an adult is the fact that, you know, you're reluctant to become close to others, like I said, or you have a lot of worry in your relationships because you don't know if they really love you or not. You cling to children for security. If this is you, I want you to know that it's okay to be close to others. I want you to know that it's okay. If you'll be okay if they leave you. Like, you will be okay. And last but not least, I really want you to know that self-love does not replace the having kids does not replace the self-love that you're supposed to have for yourself. So you can have 1,000,001 kids, but if you don't love yourself, then that's going to show up at some point, okay? And it could eventually be when all your kids leave, and you still have to then focus and deal with you, all right? So for the anxious style, if you are anxious in your relationships as an adult, here's some steps that you can do. So the number one thing that you need to do is you need to learn how to communicate, because once you are able to communicate your needs, there will be less room for anxiety, because everybody knows how everybody's feel. Even if you have to be the one to start the conversation, to create those boundaries, like, communicate. You don't gotta be scared about communicating how you feel or what you want and your needs. Like, your words matter. And the only way that you're gonna know that they matter is when you start using them. Because once you start using your words and you let people know that I'm not playing, they're gonna know you're not playing. And they're gonna abide by them rules, period. Okay? So you gotta use your words, communicate, make it clear, make it plain. Also, bring your feelings to the surface more. Bring your feelings to the surface more when there are conversations that are being had. You don't want to just sit over there in the corner like your words don't matter. Your words matter. Your voice matters. Your words matter. Your voice matters. Bring that into the conversation. Bring your opinion into the conversation, because, like I said, it matters, you know? And I don't want you to feel like your words and your voice don't matter because you weren't heard when you were younger, or you weren't heard throughout life. Like, you can change it just by using your voice. You can change the way you interact with people, that anxious way of living, if you just use your words. Okay, so people with secure attachment, they communicate really well. And if you have the anxious type of style, we are working towards secure attachment. If you are avoidant, we are working towards secure attachment. All right. So For the disorganized style, here's what you need to do. Okay? If you want to become from insecure to secure, this is what you need to do. So you have to know that predictability is key. Okay? You have to create a predictable environment for yourself. So if you are in a whole lot of chaos, in a whole lot of turmoil, and a whole lot of drama, a whole lot of trauma, a whole lot of just chaos going on, you gotta stop that chaos. You gotta bring some predictability in your life. You also gotta heal your trauma. Like I said, this is the area that which is all generational. So if you come from disorganization, that's going to continue unless you heal from your trauma and your drama. All right. One thing I want to ask you, if you are disorganized or living a disorganized life, I want to ask you, are you continuing the generational curses in your family? Because if you are, then you are responsible for the outcomes of your children. You are responsible for the outcomes of your great-grandchildren and all that. Like, do you think about that? Because the disorganization doesn't always heal on its own. And the generation before the generation that's out right now has to work on that healing, okay? And you gotta heal. Like, you can heal. You can heal. I heal from my disorganization. That's all I can say. And I want you to heal from yours. Because this part is real passionate to me, because they say that this is the one that's generational. This is the one that stems from trauma. This type of attachment style. Okay? So, if you want to heal from your disorganization, you have to make sense of your story. Go see somebody. Go talk to a therapist. Go figure out why you are ending up the way that you do. Why are you making the decisions that you make? Why are you engaged in the activities that you engage in? Why do you continue to make choices that you make? Let's try to make sense of your story. Also, if you are one that likes to hide from your past, it's no healing in hiding. There is no healing in hiding. And it's important that if you have anything, that if you suffer from any type of pain or trauma, or if you suffer from anything, it's time for you to heal from that. Don't run from it. Don't run from that. Don't run from your trauma. Don't run from your molestation story. Don't run from your drug addiction. Don't run from your self-esteem. Don't run from the things that were meant to break you. Because if you continue to run from it, it's still breaking you. But once you turn around and say, fuck that, I'm not running from it no more, let me tell you how your whole life gonna change. And you deserve that. You deserve to have an organized life. You deserve to have a changed life. You deserve to get everything that you want out of life. Not just for yourself, but for your kids and your kids' kids. Like, you deserve that. I want that for you. But I can't want it more than what you want it for, because it's, at the end of the day, you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to do the work. And if you, I'm about to wrap it up. I'm wrapping it up now. But if you need some more motivation on why you shouldn't maintain your insecurities, like why we all should be striving for security in our lives, not just financial security though, because a lot of people talk about financial security and like that's the only type of way to be secure. No, you got to be secure in your personal life, and then you also got to be secure in your relationships, because once you find that security and that sturdy foundation in your personal life and your relationships, everything else going to come. And when everything comes, you gotta be in position, and your people gotta be in position. Okay? You gotta be in position, and your people gotta be in position. So you should move towards secure attachment, because you want to have a positive self-esteem and you want to have a positive self-image. Because you want close and well-adjusted relationships. You don't want people that's going to bring you down around you. You don't want people that's negative around you. You don't want that. You don't want that. So in order for you not to have that, you got to be the one to move towards security. And either they're going to follow you or they're going to fall off. But you got to be the one to be the initiator. So you can have a sense of self-worth in the world. A lot of times people are insecure. They're insecure because they don't know where they stand in the world. They don't know their place. People who are insecure do not know their place. And I want you to gain security so that you can find your place in the world, and so that you can be the best that you can be, and you can live the life that you deserve. Okay? People who are secure, they have an optimistic outlook on life. They see the glass half full, not half empty. You know? A lot of times, I'm the type of person, like, I'm a futuristic dreamer. I'm a dreamer in itself, period. So a lot of the times, I'm a futuristic dreamer in itself. So a lot of the time, I'm always dreaming big, or I'm always trying to go for big goals and big dreams and high aspirations. And I really, really, really hate when I'm sharing my big dreams and big goals to somebody that's not as passionate as me. It does nothing for me. And if I was a normal person, if I shared my ideas with certain people, and these are the people that I used to hang around all the time, and when they would give me some dry responses, or girl, you can't do that, or laugh at me, or whatever the case may be, if I was a weak person or insecure person, I would let their thoughts stop me from doing what the hell I want to do. But I don't. I still do me. I still do me. And I'm able to do me because I surrounded myself with people who believe in a higher me, not people who want to keep me a victim or keep me locked to the old internet. I had to let go of the people who could only see the old internet. And sometimes that's what you're going to have to do, especially when you're going from insecure to secure, because a lot of people like to be insecure. A lot of people think it's fun to be insecure. A lot of people think that that's what life is about, and it's not. That's not what life is about at all. Okay? And you should want to move towards secure attachment because you just want to have healthy, happy, and whole relationships. You want to be the best that you can be, not just for yourself, but for your kids. I mean, it's really that real. It's really that important. Okay? So I just want to say thank y'all so much for taking an hour, taking the time out your day to spend with me, because I really wanted to really share with y'all how to gain some security, not just in your personal life, but in your professional life, because it's that important. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can go to my website, internetdevelops.com. You can email me at goddessdiary27@gmail.com. Like I said, I am so passionate about working with people and supporting them and becoming secure, and helping them overcome their insecurities, overcoming their barriers. I want to help you to create your best life, and I want to help you to create goals. I want to help you to also work towards the goals that you set for yourself, because I believe that you can be anything you think about and work towards. And as long as you are willing to do the work, I am willing to work with you. Y'all have a good day.